Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to the Excel budget exercise, which will give you an opportunity to work with Excel and then also learn how to figure out a budget, which for many people is probably a good thing to do because you'll be able to see how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and hopefully reduce the amount of fights you have at home regarding money because you'll know things ahead of time and not be surprised later. So anyway, and this budget file is kind of set up arbitrarily, but you can adjust it and you can actually use this file when you're done for your own needs. So that'll be a benefit as well. And there's a little monthly calculator in here, and also you can adjust the taxes taken out. So you could use this for yourself when you're done. All right, now this is the file that you're going to download. There's no sample file to look at because it's going to look very similar to this. There's only a little bit of formatting we'll do, and then most of it will be the formulas that we're going to write for it. But there will be a little bit of formatting that we'll do in the beginning. So number one on your instructions will just be to download and open the file. And remember to save it with your last name. When you can do that when you download it. Number two on this sheet is going to be adjusting column A, because right here is column A. And you can see that some of these items, there's not enough room for them to be displayed. So we're just going to adjust column A by dragging column A. And you'll see the little number pop up when you do that. Just take it over to 24. Remember, you could always go to the Format tab over here. If you'd want to adjust column width manually and just type in a number, you could do it that way too, but this works just fine. So we adjusted that to 24, and that's like 24 characters is what that is measuring. So column A is fine. What we're going to do for number 3 is indent all non-bold items. The non-bold items are just going to be these items that are underneath kind of these headings, like here for expenses, for home, for utilities, things like that. So I'm just going to highlight the first 4, and then I'm going to hold Control and click on the other ones that I want to indent. And if you accidentally click on something, you could always click off it again. So I'm going to highlight here, holding Control, and down to Magazine is the last one you need indented. All these non-bold items. So with these all highlighted, or you could do it a couple at a time if that's easier. But where I'm going to indent this is just like the indent or the increase indent in Word when you use like bullet and numbered lists. It's going to be this icon here, and I'm going to do increase indent, and you can see it moves them over about maybe 2 characters. Okay, so that's indenting, and that's number 3. We're also going to format, I guess, these in column B from like cell 4 or row 4 all the way down to I think 41. This last one here where we're going to have items in here, we're going to have values. We're going to have money values, so we're going to change this just so it looks like money. So we're going to go over here to number, and I'm just going to hit the dollar sign. Now, at first it does this accounting kind of alignment where it puts the dollar sign aligned left. You can change that and just use currency, and that's kind of more normal the way you may do that. So just you don't have to do it like accounting. That currency is fine. And you don't have to do this one unless you want to. You could put this in a number sign here, or put this in currency. And if you ever get that dollar sign or that pound sign, it just means you don't have enough room, so you might have to make it wider. And actually, while I'm doing that, I could also highlight these over here. If they're not, I'll highlight these cells and I'll make them currency. Okay, so everything's currency that I need for now. And then I'll move on to number 5, which is merge and center the heading. Now this is easy. We've done that before, A through F in row 1. So I'm just going to highlight that and do a merge and center. I'll make it 18 point bold. I don't want to change the font. Just make it 18 point bold. And that's fine. You can stretch it down a little bit. You can even vertically align it if you want. So that's number 5. Number 6 is where we actually start to create the formulas. And let me just explain something. We're going to take our yearly salary here, which I just put in 40,000 just as a random kind of starting point. You could put in anything you want. It could be a single salary. It could be combined salaries from yourself and a spouse or someone that you live with for a household kind of salary. So however you'd want to do that. But whatever you put in here is going to get plugged over here and then come back again. So you only have to put in this value once. That's why we're going to kind of pull some values from here so that whenever you want to update, let's say you got a raise, you could just change your yearly salary and then your whole budget sheet will update. It'll recalculate. So the first thing we'll do over here in F5 is we're just going to pull the value from C4 over here, just so you don't have to type it twice. There's no need to type it twice. So, and I'm just putting it here, just, you wouldn't even necessarily have to have it here, but I'm putting it here so it looks, so you could see it above. So I'm just going to put equals C4, and that'll just pull it in there. It just pulls a value from one cell into another. So whatever you put in C4 will show up in F5. And then below here we have net income. Now that's taking taxes out. And I just used a general kind of value of 20% of taxes being taken out. And that may be more or less based on what you make or where you live or anything like that. So, but I'll just use 20%. You could always change this. You could change the percentage that you do, but that you use, but I'm going to take this cell, and again, I'm always using cell references, not numbers. So in this cell for net income, I'm going to write a formula, and I'm going to do equal sum. We always start it out like that. And I'm going to take that cell, which is F5, and I'm going to multiply it. To take 20% out, I'm just going to multiply it with using the asterisk by 0.80, because that'll take 80%, which is the same as taking 20% out. In the past I used to figure out 20% and then subtract it by the total, and I had a student class say, why don't you just multiply it by 80%? And that works fine. So that's what we're doing now. And when I hit return, you can see it comes out to 32,000. So that's about 20% off of the 40,000. And now the next value here is going to be income monthly. That's taking your net yearly income and then dividing it up by 12 and just getting a monthly value. So all that we're going to do is for this cell here, for the F7, we're going to write a formula called equal sum, and then we're just going to divide the cell above it, which is F6, and use the forward slash for division, and divide by 12. You will use the number 12 for that. And then once you're done, just hit return, and there's your net monthly income. Now to plug it over here, instead of typing it again, we'll do the same thing we did for here. I'm just going to go on this cell and say equals F7. I'm just going to pull the value from here and put it here. So it's just going to be equals F7, and I'll hit return. Okay, and that gets our monthly value here, our net monthly that we're going to use. That's our income. Everything else is going to be what's going out, what you're spending, what bills you have, and then even there's going to be what's left over. So if you have any to save, you'll be able to find that out. So that was all under number 6, where we did these calculations. Now on number 7, this is just like a little extra thing here. You could use a calculator, but I just put it in here because Excel works like a calculator. We could just write a little formula here that divides by 12, just like the one we used here. So that way, whenever you have any kind of yearly amount, a water bill or tax bills or anything like that, you could throw them in here and divide by 12. So all I'm going to do in cell F13 is just go equal sum, and then do F12 divided by 12. And I'll hit return. And it shows up 0 in here. That's because I didn't put anything up here. Let's say I put in 24, the value should be 2. And there it is. So whatever we put in here is just going to divide by 12. That's just to use whenever you need to divide something by 12. It's like a little calculator here. I don't care what you have in there as a final value. Okay? So that's for number 7. We're going to, and actually number 8 is actually doing this part right here. Number 7 was actually just pulling that into here. So again, we're through number 8 on the sheet, so we don't have that much more to do. Number 9 is just putting in a value for car maintenance, and you could just put in here, I give you the value. Now, I just put in $250 a year. Now, that may be more or less than what you may have to deal with, depending on the year and the age of your car. But if you put in $250 there for a yearly, that's why you can use this little calculator here to go $250, and then it comes out to $20.83, and then you could just type in $20.83. Now here you have to put, I don't want you to put equals F13 or anything like that, because this is going to keep changing. So you're going to actually put in the value here. So you're actually going to type in $20.83. Okay, but we just use this little calculator so you could take that 250 value and divide it by 12. So that's one of our expenses. Moving down, we have another one here for water and sewer. Okay, and this you could see it's 3 times 80. Now, hopefully you can multiply that together and figure it's 240, and then just use 240 up here and hit return, and that makes about $20 a month. So I could put in $20 a month here. Okay, and then we're also going to figure out these down here. Same thing, 24 a year divided by, and we already know that, that's going to be like $2, but you could do it in here. That's going to be $2. It's not even worth putting in your budget, but I'll put it in there. And then magazines, 16 a year. And again, maybe you should always kind of figure higher, but anyway, that's $1.33. I'll throw $1.33 in there, but you probably wouldn't figure out a budget figuring $1.33 in magazines. But anyway, you get the idea of what we're doing here. So that was number 10, which actually combines the water, sewer. It mentions kind of doing all of these here, the water, sewer, and then the magazines. There's also groceries here, which is number 11, where you're figuring out groceries. Now, here's some math again. If it's $100 a week, how much a month would be? Now, you don't need a calculator for that. Just put in 400 here. But again, now if this was something for yourself, you might figure, well, I spend 150 a week, or I spend 200 a week if you have a bigger family. So, that's why I put this value in here. Value a week to because that's how people kind of think of groceries, because you might go shopping once a week and spend a certain amount. All right, so we have all our values here of what we're going to figure out our budget in, and I think I'm going to take a break here, and then for part 2 we'll just finish this up. We'll subtract everything and figure out our income minus expenses, and then we'll also use a what if analysis, goal seek, to figure out, well, how much would you need if you wanted to save a certain amount.